Man, this episode, this show, man, I didn't like it. No, come on. This was, and this is why I hate TV shows. You know, this is the thing. I love Penny Dreadful. Penny Dreadful. The one thing about Penny Dreadful, and I always give it props for, is it had 3 seasons, and in each episode, in each season, they would complete a story. They would totally complete. By the last episode, you have a clear understanding. There will be a resolution, and everything would be wrapped up so well that when they go into season 2, you don't have to struggle to catch up with the rebels happening in season 1. Or if you did, everything was slightly clear because they had a good, complete ending for the overarch story of season 1. And if they go to season 2, they may borrow things from season 1. There's some things that were introduced in the last episode from season 1, and they will walk into season 2 with a different story, and it will end with season 3, and they will introduce new things by the end of that last episode, and it will go into season 3, but they will complete the primary story. Now, the thing I hate about most TV shows is that they don't do that. So you'll have season 1, they'll introduce something, and then they will leave you pending a cliffhanger in the last episode so that you can watch season 2 or season 3 or season 4 or season whatever. That's why I struggle with Game of Thrones. That's why I've struggled with most shows because of that. They don't give you a proper ending. And unfortunately, this show, before episode 6, was a totally different show. Between episode 6 and episode 7, it was a totally different show. And now, it's something, again, totally different. And they did what I was afraid of. They've not clarified who Mr. Patoff is. The gold theory is true because we saw his foot and we saw his gold whatever. And so that is true, but who the hell is he? You know, that kid who shot Mr. Sang in prison is able to beat level 316. And what is the reward for beating that level? You see a golden skeleton. What does that mean? How does that add value to the season as a whole? What is that supposed to mean? I mean, I've tried to read on all the episodes and rewatch some of them, episode 6, episode 3, and episode 2, just to try to get a proper understanding of what all this is supposed to mean. And there's nothing, because now, with this, okay, let's just go to the beginning. This episode begins with Craig, who again, I totally dislike, because they moved him from this guy who had an arc, and then at some point, episode 7, they threw him away. And they were like, yo, Elaine, come here, you're a much more interesting character. Let's develop you. Let's throw this guy away. They took Greg, raised him, and then just dumped him. Because he plays a major role in this particular episode. But when you look at the season as a whole, they've totally wasted him as a character. They've absolutely wasted him. And Elaine, it's like, I don't know, maybe it was written by different people. It feels like it was written by different people who did not understand what was happening in the previous episodes. Because now, Elaine becomes the boss. Spoiler alert. Elaine becomes Mr. Patoff. Okay, I'm kind of frustrated because let's begin again. So the episode begins with Greg on the streets. He looks at a few cars that are destroyed, and they are damaged, and then he comes face to face with the elephant. Now remember, the last episode, Elaine came up with a crazy idea of using an elephant to actually push the publicity of the game. They do it successfully, and that gives the game a lot of views and a lot of whatever, and eventually that's the only game that has 1 million users. And so the game is successful, and so now Mr. Patoff looks like he's done with this job. Now he has moved to another premise. He is going to introduce himself to an individual and use the same formula that he used with Mr. Sang. And then Elaine, at the beginning of the episode, Elaine goes in and finds Patty, who's stepping away, and she looks like she's been hypnotized or mind controlled, because now it takes the touch of Elaine to bring her back into the world, to bring her back to her senses. So what happened? What did Mr. Patoff do to Patty so that she would be totally hypnotized and doing whatever she's supposed to do? Those are the things that don't make sense to me, and that's why I feel like some things needed to be explained in this particular season, so that we don't have to take them into season 2. Because now I don't think I'll watch season 2, because I think they will play the same cards they'll string us along again, because I felt like I was stringed along. It's like a different ending was written, and then they thought, how do we get to this ending? Let's string people along. So yeah, she comes out, and then Elaine and Patty now recognizes she's worried about Greg. She comes out of whatever space she was in, and she's like, where is Greg? So he's like, it's up there. Now when we go there, we find the episode is called Hammer. So we find Greg with the hammer. He walks in with the hammer, and then now goes for Mr. Patoff, because Mr. Patoff is standing over there, and he's like, how much do you weigh? So he comes and starts smashing the glass, and eventually Mr. Patoff falls down, loses a finger, and Greg goes home with the finger. And then they do something, there's an emergency call, and we can hear at the background Mr. Patoff walking off. So there's actually a scene where you see blood footprints walking down, and I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this all supposed to mean? Yes, we get the idea that his structure is made of gold. Was that the overall story, that this is a magnificent human made of gold, with a skeleton of gold that is perfect in what he does? Because now he's created, right now is depicted. Another surprise, Mrs. Sang is back. Apparently, Mr. Patoff did not kill Mrs. Sang in episode 3. He actually took her, gave her a house, taught her English, and is depicted as this efficient human being who made things happen for everyone. If I'm to judge this particular episode, it would mean that he actually fulfilled what he had promised in episode 5, what he had promised Mr. Sang will do for him, which is legacy. He actually did it, because now Mr. Sang's that video game has hit more than 1 billion viewers, and it has maintained the legacy of Mr. Sang, which is what he had promised Mr. Sang. I don't disagree, he did that. But what these particular producers did is that they had introduced a certain perception of this character. What happened to Milani? Who is Milani, by the way? Yeah, you remember Milani, huh? What happened to her? What was the deal with her with the missing arm and leg? What was the story there? What's with all these religious connotations? Were there for nothing? Were the producers just stringing us along? I just felt that this was a bad episode. I wouldn't even advise you to. Okay, let me just put it this way: you might be disappointed if you thought the producers were going to do something unique with the particular episode. It's very basic. Greg is not a likable character. Elaine becoming the boss doesn't make sense at all. It makes sense in a way that for the last 2 episodes she has been transformed from the most logical character in the episode to another version of Mr. Patoff. She feels like she literally feels like this episode. This feels like the original idea was to have Mr. Patoff mentor Elaine, but then they thought, how do we make that make sense by the end? Let's just add all these complicated other things within a few episodes so that we can just string it along. If this was a 4-episode miniseries, it would actually make sense. It did not. If that was the objective, it did not need to be this long. So yeah, this for me was the ending was not satisfying as I had expected. I did not expect anything, but based, when you set up something, there has to be an end goal. Remember Endgame, remember Infinity War and Endgame. They set up something in Infinity War and they had an epic ending, because you set up your audiences, you raise the expectations. So why would you now go back to one again? I was extremely disappointed with this particular episode. Not with the shooting, not with the cinematography, not with the performances, with the writing. Yeah, whoever wrote the screenplay actually did an extremely poor job with this particular episode. I can't believe some decisions for me don't make sense. Everything. Anyway, that's my review of The Consultant. I think, again, very poor ending. This for me is one of the poorest endings that I've seen in a very long time. I do not see myself watching season 2 because I have a feeling I'll be disappointed. Elaine was a very interesting character. I hate the fact that they actually had to work on her on episode 7 and 8. That felt really rushed. I think that's why they went like, we need to really amplify her character. And in order to do that, they had to water down Craig's character. They had to shoot him down in order to raise Elaine. So for me, that was I just didn't like. I never. I think it was really, really poorly written. So yeah, that's my review. Thanks for watching. If you've been here since episode 1, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I can't believe how do you make. How do you set up to have this epic, different character? I thought maybe there was something about him that would make him so. I actually don't even know who Patoff is. I still don't know who the guy is in terms of background. You leave clues when you're going to season 2 that would make him look like an interesting character. Right now, I don't want to follow him because I have a feeling that in season 2 they're going to do the same thing in order for me to watch so that they can set up season 3. You get. You just feel like this was just but a bait. There was nothing, especially with the setup, there was nothing about episode 8 that actually made sense. Everything felt rushed, everything felt like everything. Anyway, that's my review. Watch the show and see what I mean. Okay? If you haven't seen it, just watch it and see what you think. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on. I don't know what I'm going. I'm currently watching the after party on Apple TV. Very interesting. Tiffany Haddish. Now that's how you do a show. I'm watching a show called. I'm currently watching a show called The After Party on Apple TV, and that's how you do a show. I don't know how the ending is going to be, but they've already established a style whereby, apart from the whole season, each episode has a satisfying ending. It has a constructive ending that does not string you along. So yeah, hopefully I'll do a review of each and every episode, if possible, because the series is not new, it's kind of old, but I'm really currently really enjoying it. So thanks for watching, and see you on that or any other season that I see, any other thing that I see on Netflix or Amazon Prime. So thanks for watching.